From the F3 Nation Podcast Studio, this is the COT Podcast, connecting the packs of F3 Nation through fitness, fellowship, and faith. Here, the men of F3 gather each week to share stories, celebrate wins, and lock shields for the hard work ahead. F3 is more than free workouts at Dark 30. It's about leadership, accountability, and changing the lives of men and the communities they serve. Each episode, we bring you the latest news from the nation, lessons learned in the gloom, and the voices of the packs making an impact. So circle up. The COT Podcast starts right now.
I'm your Huckleberry.
The Circle of Trust podcast. Today is September 26th. Oh my goodness, they are flying by. I was on here a couple weeks ago with Dark Helmet and Seki. A great conversation. Dark Helmet had a little hard time keeping up with us, a little bit quicker pace, and I think that the Whetstone is, but he did all right. All right, going back over this past weekend, I hope you guys were on Facebook. We had some amazing events going on. The first one was the GORUCK selection event. If you don't know about the GORUCK selection, don't even learn about it because it was the last year they're going to do it. Quite a handful of guys, F3 guys, were in that event. We were rooting them on Instagram over at GORUCK doing the live feeds. And our boy Bambi out of Space Coast, I believe, finished. This is not an event where you win. It's an event where you finish. And they only had 2 finishers this year. Some years they don't have any finishers. But this year, 50% of the finishers was an F3 dude. And that was really incredible to watch. Congratulations, Bambi. Pretty sure some guys, maybe the other podcasts, are going to reach out, try to get your experience on there. So really proud of you. So much fun to root for you, and great exposure for F3 Nation. Really appreciate that. The disruption took place over in Wichita. Tommy Boy and Italian Job jumped on the hot mic, and somebody told me Tommy Boy and Italian Job ready to take up the mic. That's easy money. They got to broadcast that event. Go back and check that out. I want to speak for him. But had a video on there. What you may not know is that F3 Facebook had its best weekend ever. We usually generate about 10,000 views, and this past weekend was around 100,000, closer to actually 80, but I rounded up for fun. But he had a video on there that what F3 means to a woman. A young lady named Lily, and I believe she's a 2.0 from a Pakistan there, just gave some great words to share about the brotherhood and the love that F3 men bring to each other. I encourage you to go check that out. That thing had 24,000 views, that video, and it really represented us well. And I can't thank the boys down there in Wichita enough and their extended families. Amazing weekend. And then the best part was, as F3 Wichita, we didn't show it on the nation side, so you may have missed it. But on the Wichita side, man, they did this video of a guy holding a log, and he started shaking. And the caption was, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That thing has 1.4 million views of this dude's booty shaking. He's got a booty shaking, holding that log, and you can't unsee it. So if you missed that, F3 Wichita went a little viral this past weekend with 1.4 million views with that video. It's a great video. I think the guy's name's Mooch or something, but check that out. It's really entertaining. But a great weekend for a lot of exposures. Iron Packs is still going on. We're on week 3. Leaderboard again, not without controversy. Appreciate you. But we are coming to the end of September, and let me preview this weekend, September 26th. We got the boys from F3 Spring Hill launching tonight for an overnight ruck. We got the boys in the Metro, F3 Metro. They are doing, what are they doing? Some event, I think they're Honor Through Action. I think they're partnering with the local charity over there and helping support some local causes over there. We got the Wake region, F3 Northeast Wake region, the Deacon CSOP. I think that's an annual event. I think we may try to get somebody on. And we got the F3 SLC. Salt Lake City. It's having their 6-year anniversary. I think they're going to jump on the Facebook Live. And something's going on in Texas. I can't remember what it is. I think it's a big convergence kind of thing. A lot of people coming together. Jasmine's going to take the camera from us, or somebody down there is to highlight that. So tune in if you're tired of turning on the TV and looking at a bunch of junk that's going on in the world, and you're looking for some good, wholesome dudes out there in the world making the world a better place. Check out Facebook F3 Nation. Oh yeah, and we got the Flea from coming in from the UK. Just jumped on the plane this morning, sent me a picture. He's going to take on the Metro. He's going to join up with Forge and check out the local guys over there and meet. And so he'll be coming to town. And that's what we got for the weekend. Really excited. Should be a good one. But moving forward. All right, we got a big week. The month of October is always reserved for a campaign that we do, and we got the best of the best coming in. Scratch, come on in here and introduce yourself and tell us what we got going on. And we're going to talk about the Accelerate campaign that's going to go on in October. Scratch, you got me?
Holla at your boy, Huckleberry. Thanks for having me, bro.
Good to be here.
John
Good to have
Horton,
you.
44, GORUCK and Win. Executive Director of F3 Nation, Employee of the Month, 54 months running, and PAX member going on 11 years. Hope you're doing well today, my brother. So, like you said, man, October, the month of acceleration. Each year we have our Accelerate campaign. It is the opportunity for the PAX of F3 Nation to give something back because much has been given to us. This thing is free. I have some of my best friends because of F3. My life was changed, and for some of you know my story, I actually saved because of F3. But the point is, it was given to us, and now we have an opportunity to give it back to another man we probably might not even ever meet. But I tell you what, his family and his partner, his community will thank us forever and ever and ever. Amen and amen. So yeah, let's get into Accelerate, man. What do you want to know? What can I tell you about? What questions are on your mind?
Well, I think you hit on some good things. F3 is free. It's a free workout. So how we raising money for a free workout? That comes up a lot.
I get this question all the time. I tell you what's funny is when I post in my home region, I get out of the car and it's like, here comes Scratch, cover your wallets. It's like, well, at least they know what my role is. My role is to, I'm accountable to make sure that F3 has the financial resources to continue to grow in perpetuity. It's an interesting thing, Huck. I like to say F3 is free, but it's not cheap. And so one of the things I hear is, well, Scratch, like if it's free, like why do we have to raise money? Or it's free, like, we told people we would never ask them for anything. Or it's free, and then now you're asking me to like give something, like I thought we weren't supposed to pay for workouts. This is like a bait and switch. And so look, I respect all those opinions and they're all welcome. And guess what? Whether you make a donation to F3 Nation or not, the gloom is always available to you. And that's the beautiful thing about it. It is the great equalizer, and it will always be free of charge, full stop. One of the things that I do want to mention is, look, if you read through Q Source, if you read through Free to Lead, if you've been around F3 long enough, you know that in order to be a high impact man, you have to be generous. And being generous means your time, your talent, and your treasure. But I want everyone listening right now to hear me say, when you are generous with your financial resources, the place you should start is your backyard. You should be generous in your backyard, giving to local causes, supporting what your local F3AO PAX region is doing. So again, hear me say, I personally don't believe you can be a high impact man and be accelerating the ways you need to without being generous, but you absolutely better be generous on a local level first. Full stop, period. There's no but, if, or and coming after that. Giving to the nation, in addition to giving locally, that's something you can do, then that's amazing. The last thing I'll say about this idea that F3 is free. And so why do we need funds? And we can get into where the funds go in a little bit, because guys ask that too. Where's the money going? The one principle that I'd ask guys to think about is this. You show me an organization that has the type of impact that F3 does on the lives of men, how it's impacted me and you, Huck, all the guys we know. You show me an organization that has the impact F3 does in families, in communities, in the hearts of men, in unlocking potential. And you show me that organization that does everything that F3 does on a $0 budget, and we'll never ask for another penny, ever. Because guess what? That organization doesn't exist. And so again, this idea that it's free for us as a PAX, it's free, but it's not cheap, and financial resources are required for us to grow faster, farther, and reach more men. And again, we could talk about a little bit where that money goes, but that's what I would say to any man who says, well, gosh, Scratch, it's free. Why do we have to give? Because other men need this. And the idea that F3 would reach a man too late is a very sad thing to think about. So we need those resources. We need your 3 T's, time, talent, treasure, to continue to give this thing away.
I've told the story before, but I was in Boise and I joined F3 2014, moved to Boise. It wasn't here. And I was working with some kids running, and a kid took off his jacket and had the F3 shirt. And in the instant, I was like, how did that happen? How did I move 2,000 miles away And I remember the F3 thing, and yeah, but how did it get here? And so there are a lot of things that go on behind the scenes to get that. But one of the things, fast forward to current today, one thing I love is I get a lot of emails that come in from the website about, I want to start a region. I did one this morning. I'm an hour away from the closest workout. How can I get this started? And it is so easy to say, we have the resources right here, ready to go to get you going. There's no hesitation. It's just automatic. You got to call it region in a box, I think is what it's called. And I think previous fundraisers have opened up those kind of doors. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we can kind of get into where the funds go. And I'd love to actually just, give a little preview of the website. Just spend maybe just a couple minutes like looking at kind of what that is and where guys can find more information about how the funds are invested on a very detailed level. Is that cool with you?
And I want to preface this with one more dumb story that I
Yeah.
had. I was public educator assistant principal for special education teacher for 20 some years. And so I'm in that nonprofit. I run a nonprofit. I'm a board of a Boise Nice project. And of course I do this. So I spend a lot of time with nonprofits, and there's just some interesting dynamics that can get you in trouble for no good reason. And I'm going to tell this dumb story. When I worked in a school and I worked in the front office, the cafeteria they always had extra. They always had stuff they would throw away. And so the cafeteria staff was so kind. They would bring it down to the office, and man, it was grits. It was school grits. And they're not the best, but man, they're so good. And it wasn't a whole lot. So they brought it down to the kitchen, and the office staff got some grits. And then one day, somebody complained. Somebody said, "Well, why does the office staff get it and not me?" And man, that one complaint shut the whole damn thing down. It was like, well, if you can't be good for everybody, don't be good for anybody. And I just think that was such a limited leadership perspective of being able to tell somebody no. There's generosity is limited. It just is. And if I always say, if you're wearing on generosity, you're on borrowed time. Generosity can go in so many different directions. It's crazy that these wonderful, wonderful things can generate some kind of energy of it's supposed to be free. It's supposed to be for people, but it does. It somehow gets you in a trap of somebody gets upset for some good reason. And a lot of times we're willing to turn away. And I don't know where I was going with that conversation with. No good deed goes unpunished, I think is the word.
Yeah.
And so I'm guessing you've experienced some of those kind of things coming up when we do good things, and not everybody takes it the right ways. As we go into this, guys, if you got some feedback for us, man, we'll take it. But we're going to go in this. We give it the best chance we got. We put F3 Nation in the best position we can to do what's best for the nation. But if you got ideas, man, we'll listen. I'm happy to listen. But yes, but take us down the path we're going to go. Not going to say it's perfect, but it is excellent. And I think excellence should win perfection anytime. So yes,
Yeah.
take us down. Give us some steps. What can we do to get this process rolling?
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I think what I take from all that is kind of getting back to like why, and I know that we say Simon Sinek, right? Start with why. And we'll certainly finish with why. At the end of this, I'll share a little bit of my story, and why F3 is so meaningful to me, and why I'm so grateful that it exists for me. And I'm sure there's other men who can relate. But I think about every man has a story, and some people say you don't know a man until you know his story. And I know that every single one of us listening right now has had a guy next to him in the gloom, whose story has been shared and shared how F3 has impacted his life. If you're listening to this right now, you may be thinking that that's me. And so when you think about the why, the workouts are just what we do, but why F3 exists, the invigoration of male community leadership. Yes, we do that. And the way we do that is we unlock the hearts of men. And just, if you need more motivation in terms of like why this thing needs to be just propelled forward to every single corner of the globe, next time you're in the gloom or next time with your F3 brothers, just maybe ask them, hey, why does this thing matter to you? Why does F3 matter to you? And so everybody can not only find their own personal why, but they can connect to a local why that's proximate to them, the brother to their left and the brother to their right. So speaking of that, as we get into kind of the blocking and tackling of Accelerate, I just challenge us to think about, keep that sort of why at the front of our mind, and this unlocking of men and solving the problem of male loneliness is important and it matters. And Accelerate is one of the ways we do that. So I'm gonna pop over here to the tab and share my screen real quick. Let me go here and the Accelerate tab. So here, if you can see this, Huck, yes?
I can see it. Looking good.
Fantastic. So we have the Accelerate site. And once you get on here, we're kind of in the soft launch phase right now. You can see our goal is $100,000 that we have right here. I'm going to kind of scroll through this really quickly. We've already got some teams signed up. That's brilliant. And by the way, Right now we're in the week 0 challenge. So if you set up an online team and you get a gift of just $25, we're going to send you 5 of these Swingy Richard patches so you can share those because we need every guy in the fight. All right. And so we're in that week 0 challenge right now. You can read about what Accelerate is, why it exists. We talked about that a little bit. We've got some pretty kick-A gifts here that we're going to let guys choose from this year. Some of the feedback we got. We've given away hats and shirts in the past. So this year, a gift of $25 on a monthly basis. You got a pretty sick car chrome emblem. We got hats coming from Laser Llama. Thanks to Bilbo Zim. Shout out Bilbo, holla. And then Accelerate hoodie. But here's what I want to get to, what we talked about, Huck, right here. Investments to accelerate. Region in a box. These are starter kits. A national attraction campaign. Cultural investments. Technology. F3 is always going to be volunteer led. Everyone's a volunteer except for me. I have the honor and privilege of being employee of the month. But in order to take this thing further and faster, we're going to need to invest resources. I want to focus in on one thing right now, this national attraction campaign. So we've been running this for about a month and we have had nearly 500,000 impressions. Let me say that again, 500,000 impressions. All right. And of that, we've had about roughly 8,000 guys click on the content that we have been showing and previewing and pushing out there on Facebook and Instagram and otherwise. And of those, about 10% of them, we've now collected guys' information that says like, hey, I'm interested in this. So with a small targeted investment, Huck, we've got contact information for 800 guys that we're trying to get plugged into local regions where they can go and experience an F3 workout. And so again, you talk about how financial resources can continue to pay this thing forward and continue to reach men that don't know we exist. That's one of many examples of how we're investing resources through Accelerate and the generosity of the packs. Lastly on that, you can click through right here. You can also find this on F3 Nation's site under resources. But you can click through and read all the annual reports about the impact that we've had year over year. You can read all the financials. And so everything you need in terms of where the money goes and how it's spent, you can find here in the reports. Or you know what? You can reach out to me and have a conversation. So I'd love to talk to you about that. So again, shout out some of these regions here that have already formed teams. We got Albuquerque, Gulf Coast, Pittsburgh, Low Country, Black Swamp, St. Charles, Anderson, Puget Sound, St. Louis, Frontier, Berg, Atlanta, all of them right there. You can find and Accelerate. The way you get here is you go to f3nation.com and you click on Give. That's how you find your way to the Accelerate site. So I'm going to pause right there and come back to you, Huck, and let's talk a little bit about kind of that site. Or oh, you know what? Can I do one thing real quick? Speaking of patches, so I got the hat from F3 Jacks here. I got my F3 patch on, but just a few of the places I've traveled. And this is the beautiful thing about F3, man. You go to anywhere in the country and it feels like home. You walk up into the gloom and it feels like home. And I can't think of another organization that has that type of culture and has the type of impact that we do. And it's pretty special. So shouting out Jeffco, my boy Holes. Did you know, by the way, Holes is on our advisory council and Holes is the chair of the Accelerate sort of committee. So shout out to Holes for all his work. We got the general's birthday, the nation's general, Red Baron in Snacktown. We got Greensboro and the Juneteenth Ruck I did up there. F3 Jacksonville, who gave me this hat. Holla. We got Gold Rush, Bilbo. Bilbo Zim's making the Rogue Accelerate hats this year.
Thank you,
Thank you, Tabitha. We got F3 Texas. I got this from my boys down in Katy, but that's all of Texas. All right. Keystone Convergence. My boy Tackle in Colorado. We got the guys down in Suncoast. Holler at your boy Bing. And then, of course, we got the mothership here. That's GORUCK Mothership. So just some of those catches. And it's pretty cool, man, that I get to travel all over the country. And the idea that tens of thousands of guys are waking up every morning, doing hard things all over this country, all over this planet, really, it blows my mind. And we say that F3 runs on generosity. And that is true because the guys who came before us were generous enough to invest their time and their talent and their treasure so that we could have this amazing gift, dude.
First of all, I want to back up a little bit. That Betty White dabbing thing, man, I couldn't think about anything else. Betty White was over there just dabbing away. I cannot believe you rolled up in my podcast and you tried to out-hat me. I see you Jacksonville alter ego.
I severely underestimated your prowessness with the hat. It seems like that your Schwartz is bigger than mine. Shout out to Dark Helmet. All right. Yeah. I need an upgrade. Clearly need an upgrade. So maybe we'll get Tabitha and Laser Llama and Bilbo, or maybe Mud Gear on that or something. So yeah, man, yeah. I dig that hat. Speaking of things that are over the top, okay, can I tell you? Can I preview the week 2 challenge? So
Dude,
the week,
you got to show this thing. Yeah.
okay,
I'm
okay,
excited.
okay.
I've had the sneak peek. I'm excited.
In week zero, the region forms a team and gets just a $125 gift. We're going to send you some Swinging Richard patches. Unfortunately, I don't have the patch here to show me. We're going to get those to you out in the mail. But check out what's coming in week 1. And I'm kind of not supposed to reveal this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you get to kind of,
All 10 of you are going to be on the secret.
all 10 or all 10,000, whatever it may be. You get to get kind of the news before everyone else. So in week 1, which starts October 6th, any region that gets 12 donors, Huck, we're talking 12 donors. We're talking basically one workout.
Easy.
12 guys in the parking lot. You get 12 donors at any amount. And we're going to send your region, oh goodness, we're going to send your region an F3 hype chain. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, wait to get one, man. I'm getting one. That is my mission to get one of those things.
Like that.
That and that hat.
Yeah.
I'm going to the mall.
We got hype chains coming, and these are going to be passed around the regions to celebrate guys who are accelerating. Each region can use it to celebrate whatever they want. But we're going to send you this hype chain. You're going to get that. Any region with 12 donors. I mean, we're really encouraging participation, Huck, because it really doesn't matter how much you give. It just matters that you take an action and that you practice gratitude and give something back to something that's been given to all of us. So there you go. Hype chain coming. 12 donors, I'm sure.
Do you have any good tips as far as like guys taking, I know they're going to get the chains and you're looking for 12 and participation, man. We've had more participation with the iron packs this year. We broke the dang system. We broke the computers. We had so much participation. So guys just jumping in and taking initiative, engaging. What kind of guys do you look for to kind of set up a region to fundraise?
Well, I think like anything else, man, it starts with gratitude. I think just being able to practice gratitude and realizing that, again, F3 is free, but it also takes resources. And I would say, if you're interested in forming your team in your region, go ahead and do that. You're going to get some cool swag and we're going to send you that stuff. But the real important thing is that we don't want something from you. It's like, well, gosh, you want me to give money or you want this, or you want that. And we're all pulled in 100 different directions, man. Look, there's a lot of things out there trying to vie for our attention, for our finances. At F3, in terms of Accelerate and giving to F3 Nation, we don't want something from you. We want something for you. And making an investment to help unlock another man who you'll never meet, to me, that's a worthy cause. I mean, guys are fundraising locally for worthy causes, a variety of causes, right? That we all care about in our own backyard. But when I think about organizations that are near and dear to me and organizations that are meaningful or change my life, I mean, maybe, dude, outside of my church, maybe all I got, like F3, man. Like when I think about organizations that have changed the trajectory of my life, my family, and just my heart, I mean, F3's top of the list, dude. And so I think it kind of starts with that. I think, and then just letting guys know the opportunities available. I mean, here's the deal. I like to say, you don't ever want to say no for someone. So, just make the ask, and it doesn't have to be in some big type of like, what can I do to put you in this car today sort of message. It's just like, hey man, if this thing means something to you, would you give something back? In fact, the email that I sent out, Huck, to the nation that you generously helped us put together, you put it together, but the opening letter
if
was
y'all
from
saw
me,
typos in there, that was me. I can tell you that was me. It wasn't ChatGPT.
Like any good leader, I'm gonna deflect praise and I'm gonna accept criticism. But the point is this: I closed that letter and I said, "Look, here's the deal. Yes, we talk about the regions in a box and technology and marketing and all the investments that we're trying to make to help this thing grow faster and further in the next 10 years than we did in sort of the first 10 plus." But it really comes down to one question, and that is this: look, if F3's changed your life, just consider giving something back. Consider making an investment because it matters. And if F3 hasn't done anything for you or you haven't received anything from F3, then that's fine too. Just keep your money. It's okay. But we want cheerful givers, and we want guys who recognize that this thing was given to each and every one of us. I kind of look at it as a moral responsibility to continue to give it away. And one of the ways, not the only way, one of the ways is being generous and given to Accelerate. So as I kind of close out my part of this year, I would just say, for those who are already giving, thank you. We don't take it for granted. You can find out more information. Just go to f3nation.com. You can click on Give, find all the stuff there you need for Accelerate. It runs October 1st through the 31st. And Huck, I know that you and I and the rest of the SLT will be going live every Monday from 5 to 5:30. We're going to be previewing the Accelerate weekly challenges, talking about Accelerate, shouting out regions, kind of keeping that visible for the packs in the month of October every Monday on the nation's Facebook and YouTube channels. But anywhere you look, Slack, social media, email, website, it's going to be all over the place in the month of October. As we close, I would just like to, if you're cool with it, man, just share probably about a couple minutes of my own story. And this is why F3 matters. The guy who invited me to F3, Blankenberg, F3 Hops, here in Area 51, I was struggling in my marriage, and my wife and I were separated. And he said, hey, man, there's this thing called F3, and I think you would like it. And I said, I'm not getting up at 5:15 in the morning, like most every guy. That's too early for me. And Hops loved me enough, having only met me for about a day. Hops said, okay, bro, I'll be in your driveway Tuesday at about 5:12 a.m. and I'll just wait there until you're ready to go. And I begrudgingly was like, all right, fine, dude. And if he was gonna, my fear was he was gonna lay on the horn and wake up the family, but he didn't. But he showed up in my driveway, and then I posted 3 other times that week. That was 11 years ago. But here's the one thing that he didn't know is that I was in such a dark place, man, that I was already starting to make plans to just end it and just to kind of make a permanent exit. And he just thought, hey, man, there's this guy who'd probably like this workout. And little did he know, I think without that invite, I don't think, I know that without that invite, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And there are tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of guys out there who are in that same place and who need F3. And there's probably guys listening to this podcast right now or watching this that have been through that. And F3 is an important thing, man. And we can't keep it to ourselves. And Accelerate's one of the ways that we take this thing further, faster, and farther than we ever could dream it would go. So thank you for having me on, dude. Thanks for letting me be able to share a little bit of my heart and talk about why this thing matters. And I'm honored to be your brother, dude. I mean it.
Amen, brother. And Scratch and I, I've heard this story before for sure, and I've known Scratch, and he's been out here to Boise and visited, and I got to get over to North Carolina, but we hung out in Omaha as well. 2 quick stories behind the scenes. I don't know public, but F3 near me. You know that link. You know that link?
Yeah.
So my boy Backslash he gave me this cup this past week. We did a little second F thing. But I didn't know this. He built that in 2 hours one afternoon just for himself. He just like, man, I travel a lot, so I just want a quick tool. And he shared it with a couple of people, and next thing you know, somehow the nation grabbed a hold of it. And he was like, man, it took me 2 hours to build it, and it was just fine. Just fine. Now I got to keep it updated with the new maps, and I got to keep it. He's like, I put more work on this thing to keep it up and running than I did getting it started. And I see a parallel with this, with F3, keeping up with the demand, keeping up with. I'm gonna share my screen for just a second. Where are we at? And I shared this. It's on the bottom of the emails. But put this together. And can you see my mouse moving, Scratch, or can you just see?
I just see the scatter plot graph. Maybe not scatter plot. I didn't pay close enough attention to geometry, but yeah,
I know,
line graph. Yep.
So I want to. Maybe you can see my mouse now. That's on the other screen. So about here is where the boys had a big 10 years. Scratch, you were there. Slaughter was there. I've already pulled this video, but about 10 years in, at the 10-year anniversary, we were right around 3,000 workouts. And so fast forward 4 years, and we're at 6,000. We have doubled in half the amount of time. And I'm going to say it again, we've doubled in half the amount of time. So we are preparing to double again in another half amount of time. And I know guys work out in their local regions, and I know the guys, you kind of lose a little bit of perspective of how big this thing is. We got the UK growing like crazy, and honestly, guys, we're just trying to keep up. We're trying to keep up with the demand, the emails. So we're looking for a lot of help, both financial and time. Scratch mentioned time and treasure and talent. I like to say time and money, and they're both limited. If you can't give your certainly financial gifts are very, very welcomed. But if you can't get that time in there, last thing I need, and like Scratch said, we do a lot of highlighting of stories. I'm looking for 5. I need 5 good was now. I know I had Walk in the Park in here back in May. He had a great story. Scratch is a great story. But if I can highlight 5 stories of how F3 has impacted you, please reach out to me. I don't have time to write up everybody's story or broadcast everybody's story. But if we could just get maybe if you're out there listening and you just have a really good, compelling story, about how F3, please reach out to me. I'd love to highlight that. I'd love to share. I'd love to connect it to the campaigns we're doing, because we are making a difference. And I think it's so intelligent to highlight that, to demonstrate that, and put that in guys' faces, so that because we are out there making a difference. A bunch of good dudes doing great things in their communities and making this world a better place. And by God, I said it back in January, State of the Nation. I'm gonna scream it. I'm gonna scream this from a stage. I'm gonna keep talking about it, and that's what we're gonna do. And this only helps so much along this path. And that scratch, I can't think of what you do. I know we just don't appreciate it enough. We don't appreciate anybody enough, but we don't appreciate you enough. And thank you for coming on. And you got anything else for us?
I mean, I would just say that I'm honored, dude. Honored to be
Same.
employee of the month, 54 months running, and this thing is a big deal.
How
What
many
we're a part
iterations
of, what we're a part of is much bigger than the role each of us plays individually.
and you're in a cool spot. I went to Washington, D.C. one time, and I toured some things. And there's political appointees, and then there's like people who work behind the scenes throughout the administration. And you worked through a couple different SLTs, haven't you? Like
Yeah, probably three iterations of SLT.
real quick,
Yeah.
what's that like, going from one SLT? Are we recreating a wheel from the last one? You hearing the same things over again? Is there new directions? What's it
No,
like?
I think it's like any organization that's maturing and evolving. I think those who serve are there for a season and for such a time as this, as the saying goes. And then it's time for someone new to come in and kind of take it to the next level. And I think everybody's position in F3 is like that, mine included. I mean, I came into this role 4 years ago to be on staff to help increase the financial resources so we could do all this stuff, so we could grow faster, kind of like that line graph you're showing. I mean, at some point, there'll be a season where something else is needed. And I think that is a good thing. And so I've enjoyed every sort of leadership group I've worked with. One no better than the other. They're all just different, dude. So yeah, all of us aligned in the same cause, bro. Unlocking the hearts of men.
I have a gym membership. I pay $37 a month. That's a total of $444 a year. I got to match that.
You should cancel that gym membership and just give that $37 a month to accelerate. And you'll get
Deal.
you'll get some swag for it, man.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that no matter what.
yeah.
But
All right, bro.
yeah, you're on. All right, love you. Stay on. Don't hit anything. I'm gonna hit a couple buttons and.
All right, man. Love you, dude.
I'm your Huckleberry.